episode of Chatty Broads with Bekah and Jess.
Well, hello there, broads. Listen, here's the deal. So, obviously on Tuesday, if you don't know, you need to check it out. Bekah came back. She joined back with the Broad Squad, and she told us all about her birth, the birth of Franklin James. It's an incredible birth story. It was so nice to have her back, and she will be back next week. I can't believe it. I can't believe this queen is back in the saddle already. It takes her a few days to recoup, and then she just wants to be part of the Broad Squad again. But we had promised that we were going to do Jojo's season recap, and Bekah was like, listen, here's the thing. I'll come on this week, do Franklin's birth story, but Lord knows I'd still need a few days off. But I didn't want the Broad Squad to go without the Jojo recap. So I decided that I was just going to co-host, not alone. I was going to co-host with my favorite quarantine buddy these days.
Hi, babe.
Hi, babe.
How you doing?
How obnoxious if we call each other babe the entire time.
Just how much I love you and you love me.
Honestly, there's nothing about you that has bothered me at all during quarantine.
Change nothing.
You're just too good to me. You're too much.
Perfect. Stop. Actually, be more real.
Honestly, we didn't even watch JoJo's recap because it was hard just to not hold each other's hands and stare into each other's eyes the entire time, because when we think about love, we can only think about each other. And I don't find anyone else attractive but you.
And we just like making out too.
Yeah, just only making out.
Not making love, just making out.
Yeah, exactly.
Complimenting each other. This is gross.
Thanks for joining me.
I love you. I'm excited.
We did this. I think it's been more than a year. So the last time you co-hosted with me, yeah, it has been, because the last time you co-hosted with me was Bekah's last birth with Ruthie. And that was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm like when the talk show has a last minute cancellation, I'm like the local comedian they call in to be like, what do we do? This guy lives next to me in my bed. Bring him in.
Exactly. You're my easy. You're the producer, and do the audio, and also then I'll make you watch Bachelor stuff, which I am so sorry that you had to. Here's the thing. Okay, so this was a 3-hour long deal.
It was long.
And the first half of it, we were both really invested. And then the second half, it was come on, ABC. This is just lengthy. We had to watch all the relationship and all the breakup scenes in their entirety of the top 4 guys.
It went from great cuts, a lot of action, to just literally the editor found out that he has to fill 2 hours. So he just was let's just put super long, pointless clips for the last hour. The first hour was heavy, and then the second.
Yeah, it was just what is going on? And I don't know. So I forced you to watch that, and I apologize. But I also had to watch it too. So poor me.
Poor us.
Poor us. But I want to have it's not a spoiler alert. What is this? A little asterisk before we start this.
Okay.
This is going to be the amateur Bachelor recap hour, because Evan has not seen had never seen JoJo's season.
I had seen a piece here and there, but
really,
but nothing more than clips.
I didn't even know that you had seen anything.
I recognized a couple of the guys,
but
and I was like,
but they also are kind of a few of the guys are Bachelor Nation royalty. They've been on, 100 different
probably
versions
saw
of The
him
Bachelor.
in some other show iterations.
You've watched some Bachelor in Paradise every once in a while with me. That's probably what it was. But I also, so Evan has never seen JoJo's season. So he was literally watching the recap just as it was. That's what you see is what you get. And then I, myself, when JoJo's season came out, Ember was maybe 7 months old. So it was starting to get she was moving around a lot. I just wasn't, we were in the middle of moving to Los Angeles. Yeah. I wasn't really watching much. Every once in a while I'd tune in and kind of pay attention to the first few episodes. But the fact of the matter is this, and come for me if you will, I think JoJo and Jordan are adorable, but her top few, I couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah. It was just...
They were all the same person to me. It was just like one man that just took 5 forms.
It was like a big pot of man, and they just like took scoops out and just made like... just like the genes of like every man and made twins. Like twins are slightly different, and that's about how different all these guys were. It was almost unrecognizable.
I couldn't tell the difference. I remember watching this like some of the season and not being able to tell the difference between Jordan and Chase the entire time.
I mean, even their names are like right there. Like they scream just like white guy.
Jordan, Chase, Robbie,
it's like,
Luke.
It's like if you looked up a book of what to name a white guy in 1990. That's the name.
And it was just them. And so here was my thing. It was like I really liked Jojo, but I could tell, in my opinion, it was pretty obvious episode 1 that Jordan was going to choose that Jojo was going to choose Jordan.
I mean, yeah.
It seemed like that just from the get-go.
Dude's a stunner.
He's a stunner.
He's like kind of famous or had fame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the family fame. And apparently he was a professional football player too.
It said former pro quarterback.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always a little loose with the ABC producers. Yeah, so I never know.
It's funny you say that because I literally thought there was a lot of formers and a lot of like once was like one like I think who was a former competitive swimmer?
Oh, Robbie.
Okay, yeah, it's like, okay, Evan, I go on the show. It's like, Evan, former competitive hockey player. It's like I played hockey in high school. Like that'd be such a weird like this is my claim to fame is that I played hockey in high school.
And that's the thing with The Bachelor, like the production is sometimes they have it and it's crystal like, or sometimes he maybe was like a past Olympian swimmer.
Yeah, something that stands out.
At the same time, they'll do that and it'll be like, ex high school, swimmer. But it's like, what are those? I'm trying to think of.
Do you think it's a cover up for unemployment?
It might be sometimes.
At the time, maybe.
It might be sometimes.
Because it does seem like random. Like one guy will be like real estate agent. And then the next will be like former competitive dog trainer. And you're just kind of like, okay, like that's not like, it's kind of a weird like.
Another tricky thing that they do.
Like it's not crazy enough to be like, we got to bring that from the past and show you.
Yeah, another tricky thing they do is if you're going to school for something, they'll say that that's what you are. So like if you're in nursing school, they'll be like, she's a nurse.
Oh, got it.
You know what I'm saying?
A bit like they jump just to the job.
It won't be like, current nursing student.
Right.
It'll be like, it's not like nursing student on spring break and auditioning for The Bachelor, whatever. It's like
first year of law school, I'm a lawyer.
Exactly.
It's a bit like, okay,
exactly.
That's a lie.
They like to play.
Yeah. The guy's like, or it's the person who is on the show is like, I'm a lawyer. Yeah. Refer to me as at the offices of blah, blah, blah.
Refer to me as the offices of.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's they're just like lie on the resume, we won't ask questions.
Yeah, no, I felt like this. It's just this season. It was just very intense up front, obviously, with, my God, Chad. But like, I really enjoyed. I loved Wells. I loved Derek. I remember at the time. Evan would kind of get under my skin a little bit, but he was clever and he was different. Just because, I don't know, he was an ED, like he worked in erectile dysfunction.
First of all, I thought you were talking about me for a second. I was like, just at the time in our marriage, I was getting under your skin, and then I'm like, oh yeah, there's an Evan on the show.
There is an Evan on the show.
Wow, where's this going? I will
refer to it as Bachelor Evan.
Just out of nowhere, and at the time, love the show. Jess was driving me a little bit insane, and
even though the fact of the matter is this: if this quarantine continues and we all remain unemployed,
that will be true.
I'm going to send you on the show.
Just for content alone.
Now not for content. I'm putting you on the show because I'm going to get those Instagram followers and I'm going to get that ad money from you.
Oh, I see. We're going to share it.
The
first open couple.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm comfortable with you going on the show so long as you're very honest with whoever that bachelorette may be. Like, listen, here's the deal. I am married. I do have a child. I'm going on here because I am unemployed. If everything is out there and you're honest, I'm like, thumbs up. Let's do this thing.
So, well then, okay. What's the angle though? So I tell her what? Like, what's the whole point? So I have a kid.
There's no
I'm currently married. I have nothing to do. So I'm on the show, but I want to have a relationship with you, or I'm just here for a good time. If you're down for a buddy,
I mean, sweetheart,
Keep me on as long as
sweetheart,
you'd
I'm going to
like.
leave that up to you.
Oh,
I'm
okay. Well, that's a dangerous and also kind of a setup for failure there. Because if I choose wrong, I'm done.
No, there is no wrong. Here we are in this age, and I'm saying you go, you do your thing. Okay. I will remain home with the child, and I will watch your Instagram account go up.
Got it.
You know, and I'll just be like, that's that ad money. So, well, that was a long way to wrap around my little asterisk of this is an amateur bachelor happy hour.
We're having fun.
But yeah, we're having fun. Said we were going to do it. Also, before we dive in, this coming Tuesday, I never know how to say that. Chris Harrison announced that it's going to be the double Bachelor recap season. It's going to be Trista and Alex, the first Bachelor and Bachelorette. Oh. I watched Trista's season. I know nothing of Alex. Bekah and I have made a pretty 100% executive decision that we're probably not going to recap that because it just looks too old to watch.
Oh, that first season when we got.
Yeah, it looks a little
wild.
too unbearable. I just don't know if we can do it. It would probably be funny and wild with fashion, but it's just too much. So what we'll probably be doing is our Tuesday episode, and we'll put this out on our social media. We're going to do some Q&A. Listen, it's been a really crazy past couple months, and we thought that this would be a good time for any and all questions with what's going on right now, Bekah's birth, even social media, bachelor shit, like all that, bring it on. We'll put all that on our social media for you all to send all the DMs and questions. So we're probably going to do that. We think it'll just be more fun and entertaining anyways. And we want to hear from you broads. It's been a while since we've chatted, so let's chat. But yeah, ready to get into it?
Ready.
Let's do it. Okay, so Jojo season. Oh, do have to say, this is the second week that we've had a Bekah moment during the intro.
Yes.
Bekah.
Yes.
We had a quick shot of her crying the week before during Ben's recap, and then we had her talking to Ari during this one, and I'm like, hey, pay our queen some respect and give her some do Ari season and give her some damn time on it. Give her airtime. She has 2 beautiful children. Let our queen live, okay? Stop ignoring her in this franchise. You're putting her face all over it. I get why you would. She's wonderful. She's fantastic. But respect our queen. Acknowledge her. Don't just use her image.
Listen, she's ass in the seats. You know what I mean? She gets the people there.
Exactly.
She gets a reaction.
Exactly.
You want that, not these vanilla people that are just like,
no,
neither here nor there, no personality.
No. Bring us Bekah.
Let's go.
All right. So we start off by, what were your thoughts, Ev, on this Chris Harrison setup?
I mean,
this bachelor from home, this shelter in place bachelor setup.
If this was a brand new show, an online show,
mm-hmm. Like a low budget,
like a pilot that was trying to get picked up, I'd be like, great. Yeah,
during the quarantine times.
$1 billion show. I mean, it looked like it was shot in like an old Airbnb. Like, you know, when you show up to certain hotels or Airbnbs, you're like, whoa, this is kind of cool. Like, it's kind of trapped in time. Like, it's not what I would really want, but it kind of, like, it's like roses on top of old wooden furniture with a monitor that looks like they dug it out of the basement, like a 1998 monitor. The setup was wild. Like it's like they got rid of the budget for the show. They're like, oh, and then now we're using my son.
Yeah, poor
like,
Josh.
And he just kind of like looks at the camera and goes, like, it was the most just like, it was like he bought the show and then was just like, I don't want to spend any more money on this thing. Let's just kind of wing it.
I can't get over it.
Wild.
Every single episode, it just blows my mind. And I don't feel like I'm not getting the biggest reaction where people are like, yeah, this is crazy. I can't get over how low budget looks.
Yeah, like, I get it if you're someone who has no idea how television works or any of that stuff works, but you got to realize, like, they have so much money.
So much.
And top producers and all the people to make this as beautiful as possible or as high-end or as, like, even if it's going to be lo-fi,
yeah,
it'll be, like, cool lo-fi. This just looks like bad lo-fi. Like... I don't know. Me and my son are kind of just winging it.
Chris and Josh are just like having a daddy son day.
Yeah, it literally
and
is.
just like giving it a go.
100%.
It's one of his school projects.
It's dad's helping out his freshman year
Josh
project.
is a freshman in high school. He's thinking that maybe he wants to be a producer one day.
Sure.
And so he's like, hey, Dad, do you mind? Like, I know you're kind of famous. And do you mind kind of doing this for me? And I'm going to set it up. And whatever.
It's not even Josh's fault. It's like the decor, too. It's like,
yeah.
What house is this?
Yeah, no, I don't blame Josh.
It's like Chris Harrison's parents' house.
Maybe he is quarantining
That's
with
the
his
vibe.
parents.
That's the vibe of that place.
Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. He said it's his own home, but
wild.
you know,
or like a dude has just no taste in like furniture or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, you know, who knows really, because you can't get a grasp on people's taste because he is always dressed by someone. He's always in a suit. So it's hard to tell really what Chris Harrison's style is.
You see a lot when you see someone's house.
But that's very true. It's very true. I wonder how much people judge us when they see our house and how uncoordinated it is.
Room to room.
Room to room. One room's all right. The rest, it's pretty
very
rough.
room to room.
It's pretty rough. But I mean, Chris Harrison's taste, I will say, during Colton's season finale, they had a special guest band come out to play a song, and Chris Harrison was psyched, and it was Air Supply. So I feel like that's kind of all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, you know.
No comment.
No comment. No shade to any Air Supply fans, you know. Don't come for us.
It's just kind of like, you know?
Just, you know it. So we started with a little Wells Adams catch up with his fiance, Sarah Hyland. You knew Sarah.
Of course.
That was one. You're like, hey, I know her.
Yeah.
Huge Modern Family fans.
I mean, yeah, they're both super cool, and they felt like the most current people. They feel like they had personality, and obviously she does, but I mean he really, I liked him a lot.
Yeah,
he has
love
charisma.
Wells.
He's got personality. He's vulnerable. Like, that guy's cool. I like that guy.
I loved him. In
a room full of like buff dudes too.
Well,
he didn't lack the confidence. Like, he's just himself.
We can talk about how much those room full of men were shaming Wells constantly. They were heckling him so much. I was getting so irritated. I was like, how dare you speak of him that way? He's the best one, hands down, in my opinion. Definitely. And I don't know, he's just like, and I mean, and let's be real, obviously he is top notch because I think was correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he was the very first Bachelor contestant, and he wasn't even a bachelor. He was just a contestant to break through the reality TV walls of The Bachelor and date like a proper Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah.
So obviously,
yeah, I mean,
he's great.
He's super cool.
Yeah.
Fan.
But they were super cute. I was loving the fact that Sarah was rocking her Vote shirt. I was like, yes, queen.
Yeah.
And obviously they had like the most professional backdrop. Did you notice this?
Well, it was just like I didn't even get the backdrop vibe. I just got like, really, really nice house. Always looks nice.
It was just all
you
white.
shoot from any angle and you're like, yeah, a super ballin' Malibu house or wherever they live.
It was just all
is gonna look
white.
amazing.
They've got that Modern Family money.
That's that syndication.
It's that syndication cash.
It's that #1 show 10 years in a row cash.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, they're like Office level. Maybe not quite that big, but they're like on their way for sure.
And she's like main character.
They're massive.
Yeah. Wowzers.
Yeah.
Congrats to her. Love her. She's been a major Bachelor super fan for years.
Ooh.
So she had her eyeballs on
liked him.
Wells. I mean, I think. But I know she's been a super fan for years. I'm sure. Yeah, and I don't know, they're just super cute. All right, so I'm reminded as this starts, I know, again, you haven't seen the show, but I was reminded, I was like, oh gosh, again. And this happened last week and the week before when Bekah and I recapped Caitlin's season, when I recapped with Justine and Natasha from Two Black Girls, One Rose, Ben's season, I was like, oh my God, these seasons were the ones that were packed with all these people who got really famous in Bachelor Nation. So we're seeing people like this guy, Luke Pell, Evan Bass, Derek, Wells, Chad. Oh my God. Yeah. And Daniel which Daniel was the Canadian.
The guy with who was really into stripping and poking other guys in the belly button.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep. That was a wild hang.
So like 2 weeks ago, I was talking with Bekah during a Caitlyn recap, and I was like, this guy reminds me, and there was this one other guy who reminded me of Daniel, and I couldn't remember Daniel's name. And I was like, there was something about Daniel that I liked. And when I was watching this, then I was full of shame, and I was like, oh my God, how? This guy was just ugh. Like, but in Bachelor in Paradise, they played him often as like this really kind of just goofy, like stupid character.
Oh, okay.
Because he's a trippy dude.
Yeah, I remember the first meeting between him and Evan.
Yeah.
He poked him in the belly button. And the guy's like, you can't do that to people. And he's like, what? And then the guy's like, he's tweaked. He's like, why are you poking me in the belly button? Like in a suit. And he's like, is that a Canadian thing? Like, what is that? And he's like, no. Is that weird? And I just feel like, oh, I mean, like, you're off to the races, a weirdo.
Well, the
already.
thing is, I remember when I first, and I didn't like Daniel in Jojo's season, but I liked him in Bachelor in Paradise, even though, again, it's just, no, Jessica, just no. But he entertained me. But it was, I remember watching Jojo's season, seeing him poke Evan in the belly button and being like, wow, this guy is being really disrespectful. But then when you get to know Daniel, you're like, oh no, he's not, I don't think he's trying to be disrespectful. He's just the type of person who pokes someone in the belly button because they think it's just a good idea.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get bully. I didn't get bully from him.
But when I
just,
first started the
clueless.
season, because he was friends with, see, they didn't show it as much, but him and Chad were friends. So I was like, okay, he's hanging out with this, the craziest villain that's ever been on the screen. Well, the most obvious villain. I'll talk about Luke P. So you're seeing they're friends, and then he's kind of doing these things that you're like, what's this guy's deal? He's like egging on people, but then you realize you're like, for a while I thought he was trying to make fun of Evan, and I was like, what a jerk. But I think he's just,
yeah, I didn't even get that vibe. I got like, he's just kind of he's just, hey, I'm a goofball, man. And you're like, okay, man. Like,
but it wasn't even that, like, the type of people who are like, me, I'm just wacky and goofy. No, he doesn't like realize. On Bachelor in Paradise, I don't have the lines, but there were a few things that came out of his mouth that you were like, what the hell does that mean? Like, bizarre.
Oh, really?
That's why I liked him during Bachelor in Paradise.
There's something about him. Maybe the recap didn't quite capture.
No, I'm just being stupid because doesn't have a great reputation, but he was just
a weird
so
reputation,
bizarre.
Sure. I mean,
it's just entertained highly by like his like trippiness. Well, yeah, so we have them all, coming out of the limo. That's again when I was recalling that they all look exactly the same. Like, it was just wild to me how similar they look.
Oh, I wanted to say one thing.
Yeah, tell me.
The only beef I have with Wells, I think this is Wells.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Are you talking about the quartet?
The quartet.
Yeah. I feel similar.
Okay. If you're a part of the quartet, sure.
No, that's way more awkward.
No, but hear me out.
No.
Okay,
Are you kidding me? I'm just going to let you know right now. If we're ever on a romantic date and you roll up and you jump in, I just think it's like a little, what is it when there's three guys and then you jump in and it's a quartet and you start singing to me, I will divorce you on the spot.
No, listen. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it makes sense. I'm not saying at dinner, right? If you're dinner and you hire a jazz band to come play for you while you're eating dinner, sure, that's beautiful. But if you pull up on your first impression and you have some sort of band or some sort of musical thing and you're trying to show off your talent or something like that, awkward, but at least it makes sense. But showing up to the first impression, 4 guys show up and sing a song and you're just staring at the girl like, look at these guys. That's, to me, like having another guy do push-ups to impress your girlfriend. You'll go, hey, look, I heard this guy do push-ups for you. Isn't that cool? You like those push-ups? Anyway, nice meeting you. It's just kind of like, what? Why are they here? What do they have to do with you? Are you a musician? Are you like tied into this? Or did you work with these? Did you produce? Did you write the song? Like, why are they? What do they have to do with you?
He's in radio, so he's like very involved in music. So he loved them. They were very good. So here's the thing.
Had nothing to do with that.
But if you're like, if you have this quartet that you love, or you really enjoy like quality music, and you're like, I also want this person who I'm meeting to enjoy quality music, I get that. Now, if I was in Jojo's position, regardless, I'm uncomfortable because you know me. It's the don't have someone come and sing me happy birthday. Please do not hire someone to take photos of us after we're getting engaged. That was one of my big stipulations to Evan. I'm like, when you propose one day, don't hire a secret photographer because I'm be in my head the whole time and nervous.
Yeah, right.
I would never be able to handle paparazzi. It'd be a nightmare. I'd be so uncomfortable the whole time. So Jojo's just, standing there and like trying to smile, and she did a great job.
And she's just like, hey, so why? Well, okay, cool. Thanks for that. Like, I don't know these guys. Like,
but yeah, no, I get.
Or if it was a famous person, like, oh my gosh, she got some famous person to sing a song for them.
Maybe they were, and we just didn't know them.
I mean, yeah, if they're legends, and she knew who, she was like on her Facebook profile, it said, and a big fan of a big fan of quartets, then maybe. But other than that, I thought that was the only thing where I was like, that is so weird to me.
I mean, when you're
not to accompany dinner, but to like have a first impression.
Bekah and I are very vocal on this show about the fact that we are not fans of the music dates 99% of the time on this show. Because you're just like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to look at these people, or then like I'm supposed to dance, but then like I see all these people staring at me and I just want to have this moment. But I guess there's a whole camera crew filming, so you probably it doesn't even really make that much of a difference. But we have a problem with it.
It is weird.
You just feel pressure. You just doesn't feel as organic. But
it definitely doesn't.
But it would be way worse, in my opinion, if he would have been part of the quartet. It would have been like immediate axing.
Okay, it would have been worse in the corny.
He's just like,
it would have been worse in the corny level, but it would have made sense at least. Like, that's why they're here, because I do this, or I'm a part of this. That's my only
Well, it didn't work on her because he didn't get the first kiss. Definitely didn't get the first kiss. Jordan got the first kiss. And again, I knew that it was going to be Jordan. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just so clear. At least it seemed that way to me. And I'm pretty sure the mass majority of the audience was like, no, duh. And then when I actually been watching this, because I really didn't watch the second half of the season at all when it was airing, I didn't know how upset she was letting go the top four, let alone letting go Robbie. And I was like, oh, I thought that it was just smooth sailing Jordan the whole time. So I guess maybe it wasn't as obvious, but
yeah,
we knew it from the beginning. They were meant to be together.
It seemed like his to lose.
Yes. Would he make
you're going to do
mistake?
some weird thing, but like other than that, it was just like, dude, of
what
course.
What weird ass thing are you going to do? So, okay. We get the clips. Oh, I wrote down belly button gate with Daniel and
belly button gate. I wrote down Evan belly button.
Well,
just because I remember like watching that and being like,
not your belly button.
That is bizarre.
Oh my God. And then they have the clip of like Daniel straight up harassing Evan by the jacuzzi, being like, look at my dick. And it was like, dude,
sexually harassing
this is not okay.
No.
This is like so, and poor Evan is so awkward with it, like trying to not be rude and be like, dude, fucking stop. Well, he's just like wandering away.
What age is it? Like I'm trying to think of my upbringing in sports and being naked in locker rooms, and like it was so not funny. It was so not funny to be naked so early on. You know what I mean? Like, these are grown men, and he's being silly about the fact that he might not have his pants on. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, this is in like maybe when I'm like 13, 14, and you're in your kind of first couple locker rooms, and everyone's being a little silly because they're kind of insecure and they're awkward about the whole thing. But when you're like 27 and you're joking around about the fact that you might not have undies on, like, it's just like, what, man? Like at what age is like, ooh, penises? Like, what do you, like, how is that even a thing to tease your guy friend about? That you're going to go in the jacuzzi naked and that's going to be icky for him?
I don't know. I will say this, though. Right? Like some of the podcasts, like the comedy podcasts that I listen to with some of these guys, they talk always about like constantly sending each other like dick pics and like thinking it's hilarious. And I'm kind of like, I don't get it. Like I'm not sending my girlfriends like check out my vulva. Like, isn't it so funny?
A vulva pic?
Yeah, I'm not sending that. Like, I mean, like, here's the deal. Like, 2 nights ago, I sent my girl a video like chat thing of myself to explain some wild conspiracy that one of our friends has going on, and I didn't have a top on in it, and it wasn't like I wasn't like check out my tits. It was like I just was talking to my friend, but to send something like intentionally.
You mean like your boobs were out though?
Yeah.
Casually in the video?
Yeah.
Wait, so you
Why is that funny?
Hold on. So you're filming yourself like a selfie style.
Yeah.
Talking to the video, basically filming a reaction you have to something you guys are currently talking about. And just every once in a while, you'll see your boobs.
Yeah,
out.
because I was in the middle of changing. So I whipped the phone out and did it in the moment because I forget to text back everybody. So I was like, I'm going to do this right now.
That would be bizarre. Why
is that weird?
Because it's one thing if you had like a bra on or you were kind of holding yourself or you had a towel on. But if you're just hanging out, what I'm saying is this. It'd be like if I was doing that and I had no pants on and just every once in a while you just caught up like a flash of my dick. And it was just like, totally, man. Yeah. So anyway, I really think that we should talk to that buyer. I was really thinking we should tea timed or we should go to the casino. What do you think? It'd be fun, right? And just every once in a while, you just see me. Like, that would be insane.
Then guess what? You're not getting any of those videos, bud.
No, I want the videos. I'm saying send them to me. Don't send them to your friends.
Well, my friends are the ones that get them. Sorry.
By the way, I'm so sorry. I don't know why my examples of talking to my friends went to the biggest douchey vibe ever. I said casinos, tea times, and like something else.
I know. I'm like, oh God.
I'm like, I don't go to casinos and I don't golf anymore.
Have you ever been to a casino in your life?
I don't know why. I think I was projecting. I just needed to get out of the house.
Yeah, jeez. You're just like, you've been in quarantine so long that you just become like a raging douchebag. You're just like, I gotta get a tea time, then I gotta go to the poker tables, and I gotta smoke that cigar and make sure that I got that whiskey with the boys.
I think I'm losing my mind. That's why I'm making up alternate realities.
Okay, well, anywho. So then we see then we saw Chase and Jojo, and that was a funny scene because Chase and Jojo were going to do yoga together. And I thought that they were going to have it was just going to upfront be like tantric yoga, sexy yoga. But they start doing that like tantrum yoga where they're like throwing tantrums together and she's calling it like an angergasm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this to me just looks like my living room every morning at 10 when my child loses her mind. That's what this looks like.
Yeah, that was definitely bizarre.
It was kind of weird.
This is called the Jessica meltdown yoga.
This is what you're going to see once you start dating me and I flip the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a tantrum on the floor. Well, and then they do the yab yum. It's called the yab yum, I think, where they straddle each other and have that heart alignment, and that was intimacy.
I mean, yeah, it was very
intimate.
Yeah, it was like I was thinking about when I was watching them and all. You could see they first started, they were kind of smiling, and then you just watched.
Yeah, it's like a magnet.
The heat.
Yeah.
Start to rise, and it was like, yeah. Talk about it. Great. If you're just, if you need some intimacy or you need some connection time, force yourself to do that.
Yeah, seriously.
It'll happen.
It's not that maybe later this week we'll yab yum.
I have it booked out every night. So.
It's in the books.
Yeah.
And then we were watching it and Evan goes, they're doing their yab yum. And Evan goes where do the instructors go? Because they were yab yumming next to them.
Yeah. Right.
They were
just didn't see the instructors anymore.
They just disappeared. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're probably hiding behind something and they're going to jump out at them at some point and just be like, part 5 of the exercise is feats of strength. And they just start
just fight for your life. Oh, God. Swords.
Well, these dates, though, there were some definitely some. I just say the season was a little erotic. They're doing the yab yum, and then they have the firefighter date.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, wouldn't hate that date.
You like
if
that
I was
one?
the Bachelorette. Yeah.
You like the firefighter thing?
Yeah, because firefighters are extremely hot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, chill. But really, that's a thing. I mean, I know it's a thing, but I'm saying,
of course it's
listen,
a thing.
I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
But is it like for you? Is it like a major thing?
It's definitely like when a fire truck goes by, I'm not looking.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, chill. Well, okay, that's good to know. Just ordered my fire suit on Amazon.
Like
Break through the door.
1 second, please.
My axe scare you to death. And I'm thinking it's so hot, and I'm just beating the door down with an axe, and you're screaming for your life, calling 911, and I'm like, honey, I'm home.
Let me know. Give me a heads up before you do the firefighter
I do
role
a whole
play, please.
I'm gonna blow her mind, and I like escape at night while you're sleeping, and then just take an axe to the wall.
No, you just show up in the middle of the day with like a very high powered hose and just blast me, and it just hurts like hell.
Is this what your fantasy was? It's good to know I'm not letting you anywhere near a firehouse.
Oh gosh. It was to me it was an erotic date. What was not erotic were all the men shaming Wells because listen, Wells was not, quite as jacked as all the other guys who, he couldn't handle all the gear and he was about to black out. He's a music guy. All your friends are musicians. It's not, you're not going to put on 50-pound firefighter suit and go do a what is that called? Trojan, whatever.
What?
One of those runs.
Like a Spartan race?
That's the word. Trojan run, obviously,
Oh, you mean like musicians in general aren't athletic?
I mean, that's probably just a terrible stereotype.
Yeah, wow, just lump them all in.
But I'm just saying, there's just different points of interest. Maybe growing up, you were focused on other things.
True. Yeah.
And they were shaming Wells and they were giving him shit. Well, it turns out he ends up having the last laugh because they laid him out on a little blankie and all the boys were laughing, but he ends up getting more one-on-one time with Jojo and just turns out to be just the most charming.
Super charming, but does the one-on-one time, is it good one-on-one time? You know what I mean? Like
the two of them?
I had to be rescued.
I mean, I wouldn't care.
Okay, no, that's what I'm asking.
No, not at all. In fact, I would be, God, it's tough. This is a tough thing. It depends on the guy. If I wasn't attracted to the guy at all and then he had to be rescued, if I'm being honest, I'd probably be like, okay, this is just, not for me. But if he was a cute guy and he was fun to talk to, and in this specific firefighter scenario, he almost blacked out, but he then was laughing about it, laying on like how Wells was handling it, and he was laughing at himself and kind of making fun of himself.
Yeah, he played it well.
I would be into that because I'd be like, wow, this guy's really confident. He knows himself and he's not like embarrassed, or even if he is embarrassed, he's handling it well.
I feel like it's a total fine line with the whole like challenge thing.
Well, there were a lot of like challenges.
But if you try too hard, there is this level of like, that's embarrassing to me. But if you don't try enough, then you're not taking it seriously. There's kind of this weird thing. It's like, if you're like going so hard and then you win, it's a little bit like, okay, dude, like, you think that this means something.
Well, that's the thing we'll talk about Chad, but at one point when Chad was kind of like, you guys are embarrassing, like trying to win all these challenges and like impress her. And though I can't stand Chad, I will say if I was in Bachelorette position, I would not be like attracted to, like you're saying, the person who's like winning the challenges. It would be like, all right, like how are you playing these challenges out? If you're fully ignoring them and you're being a douche about it and be like, no, I'm not going to do that, that's not cool. Right. Then I'd be like, well, you're no fun. And you're taking yourself too seriously.
You want to get like third place.
Yeah.
Because first place is like you're ignoring the girl and you're just like, I gotta win.
Yeah, and that's not for me.
Well, that's not the point.
That's not for me. Unless, it just depends on the challenge though. Because sometimes, like again, in this season, they had the stand-up comedy challenge. And I wouldn't hate if someone won the stand-up comedy challenge. be like, you're super funny.
That's different though.
Great.
We're talking about physical stuff.
Show. Yeah, the feats of strength. For
yeah,
sure.
where it's like, I'm gonna do 1,000,000 pull-ups, and you're like, okay, the dude's like not even looking at the girl, he's just sweating, and like there's like a middle ground where the guy falls off and he's talking to the girl. I don't know. I feel like
yeah, no, you're right.
There's a little bit of like.
I like the third place is good.
Third place is like solid.
If it's in the feats of strength, yeah.
You're talented, you're strong, you're impressive, but you're not taking the challenge over the girl.
You're not knocking people out of your way to try
you're
to
not
like
furious if you lose, kind of thing.
It's not like a Luke P situation on the rugby fields.
Lunatic, yeah.
Oh God, what a nightmare.
Love it.
Sometimes I think about him and I just like zone out and remember all that happened.
Love a lunatic.
I mean, television, but my God. Well, with Wells, he had his moment, but then Sweet Wells and Jojo, it turns out that they haven't kissed yet. Everyone else has kissed. And again, here we go again. The guys just continue to heap on him and are giving him a hard time and making him feel like all this pressure about having to kiss her because everyone else has.
Yeah.
How soon would you kiss someone, do you think, in this situation?
I think it's energy. What do you give me that look for? That was I mean, within 2 minutes, probably 3 minutes max.
No, I was giving you the look to see if like that energy was happening right now.
That was the moment.
Yeah.
I'll make you wait. So I think it would just depend on her energy, obviously. But, you know, I think it all depends on chemistry too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think some people, it takes a while to develop chemistry. All of a sudden, you're on your 10th date and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't see this. And now we have this connection. Sometimes it's like right away.
I just always wonder if I'd have pressure, like feel pressure in the situation, because obviously going in, I'd be like, it's just, you have, you know, it's when it feels right. But I wonder when there's all these cameras in your face, like how long, first of all, it takes to adjust to that. Bekah said you adjust pretty quickly, but she also adjusts to things very quickly.
I feel like right away she'd be just like,
she's like good to go. I'm kind of be like, what is that? Like the whole time be like very aware and nervous. But I feel like I wonder if there would be this pressure of, oh my God, like, you know, everyone else has kissed the lead, and or if I'm finding out like first night the lead's kissing numerous people, and I'm like, oh God, maybe I should also kiss the lead. Like, I wonder if I'd get caught up. I could see myself feeling pressure and like rushing it.
I think it's also knowing your place in the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're clearly the most handsome guy there, the most charismatic, and like you have it all over everyone else and you haven't kissed her, there's probably this thing of like, wow, maybe he's waiting, you know, he's playing the long game, whatever. But if you're not, then you should be concerned. You know what I'm saying? There's kind of this thing. It's like, if you're the guy that she seems to be the most interested in and you still haven't kissed her, then you're kind of this like, whoa, the tension's building, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not, then it's kind of like, oh, I'm getting left behind here. Yeah. That would be my guess. Yeah. Or my feeling in the pack.
Well, they put Wells in basically the human fishbowl. They put them Jojo in a situation where all of a sudden there are people just like
forced it. They're like, get naked and swim on each other. If this doesn't work, you're out of here.
And it was like glass with like a thin amount of water. We were both like, this is the hottest date ever. Like, this is the craziest. I'm like, where is this? How can I participate? This is so hot. And then they had that really awkward, like quick cheek kiss. And it was like, no, but then they started kissing. But again, I mean, it felt pretty obvious towards the beginning that Jojo and Wells had like friend chemistry. Definitely. It just wasn't, you know, he wasn't maybe her type of fella.
Didn't seem that way.
No. Maybe it was the quartet. Who knows? Maybe that's what ruined everything. Well, Chris Harrison harassed Wells like you wouldn't believe. He was just like, you're
not a good lover or something like that.
Oh yeah, what the hell? Well, first of all, he was just like, Chris was like, well, Wells said, why are you doing this to me again, Chris Harrison? Why did you put me like, and also like, could you have gotten a suit that fit me better? And he was like, well, they didn't have kid size as well.
So rude.
So rude.
I mean, another man saying that to another man is just the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's just so rude. I can't even believe it. And then, yeah, he was just like, so, Sarah, here's your time to defend your fiance. He didn't come off as the best lover on the show. Is he a good kisser? And I'm like, what the hell?
And then not only rude, like, okay, hey, man, you wear kid sizes. You're such a bitch, basically. And then follow it up by, hey, your girl, he sucks at sex too, right? Because he has no eroticism.
He said a good lover.
Yeah, like that's even worse. It's like
it was just like,
do you guys have beef?
How did he not have a good? What do you mean he didn't come off as a good lover? He came off as a wonderful lover. He seemed great at communicating, and he was very interesting and lovely. And like maybe he didn't like pounce on a kiss and like grab it the first night.
Yeah,
seems like a communicative king. Okay.
He's definitely probably a giver.
I mean, we love a giver. Well, they then left us, and I just feel like Chris Harrison has maybe been in quarantine too long. Maybe that's what's just happening. Just like you're bringing up your cigars. Maybe Chris Harrison's just been in quarantine for too long.
I'm losing it.
So then, oh Lord. Then we get to the Chad Johnson of it all. Chad Johnson, I have a lot to say about Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson was obviously a large part of this, like a third of this season recap, because he shook Bachelor Nation with how insane he was. And my feelings are this: hated that he got so much airtime, hated more that The Bachelor let him back on, because he came back on Bachelor in Paradise, and he continued this behavior towards people, and he's out of control. I mean, he's been in the news like for just tons of shit. We'll get into that, but hated that. But we have to talk about it because it was a third of this recap, and it was crazy. And I'll be real with you, like I said, I was in and out of the show the first time, so I didn't see all these Chad moments. I mean, this was crazy. Like, this was some unreal, like, violent. I mean, this was not a villain who was like, hey, love to hate him. It was like, you're scary as hell. And I told Evan before we started this recap, I'm like, we have to go in on Chad. And the fact of the matter is this: I'm scared for my life. I'm scared that he's going to find out what our address is. Okay. I don't
understand. I was trying to read between the lines half the time, being like, okay, is he playing up the screen? Is he kind of, does he have this kind of, he's playing the heel? Does he know what sells? So I'm going to be the crazy guy that does crazy things. But then you would see like genuine reactions out of him that were like, whoa, like when he tore Evan's shirt after the comedy show. I mean, imagine having that little self-control where in front of a whole group of people, you physically assault someone for making a joke at your expense.
That's next level. Like, it's not even in the house. It's a whole
it's in a crowd
theater of people.
You assault someone, and then 10 minutes later, throw your fist through a door and break your hand basically to bleeding all over the place. I think he told Evan, I'm going to kill you if you keep that up.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Like something crazy like that.
Exactly what he said. I mean, at one point...
It's like the dude made a joke about you and you're threatening his life and then grabbing him and ripping his shirt. Like, that is...
And his joke was about him being on steroids. It wasn't like, I mean, come on.
It was like, you're on steroids, you're irritable. That's basically the...
It was, you're on steroids, you're irritable. Also, like, look at the guy. His veins, like, he's huge. He's doing pull-ups on the rafters of the house with a weight belt wrapped around like a tote bag, okay? And his veins
full of protein powder, which is just like, could you be more like on the nose with the whole thing?
Full of protein powder. His veins are busting out of him. Like, dude, chill. Obviously, people are gonna say that you're on steroids. Like, look at you. Come on. Like,
remember, he's like, after he like threatened Evan, he's like, if I don't lift weights soon, I'm gonna kill someone. Or I'm gonna freak out.
yeah.
Bro.
You're like, you're really playing into exactly what Evan just said about you.
Yeah.
He said there was one moment where after he was talking to Chris Harrison, where Chris Harrison pulled him aside after that Evan piece, and he said, I'm going to remove, like something like, I'm going to remove, like, I'm going to cut, like, remove people's arms and then legs and throw their torsos in the pool. I mean,
that's not an insult.
No, that's like horrifying.
That's like a scary movie threat.
It was a scary movie threat. He's mic'd. He's on camera. Do you even want to begin to think about how this man is not on camera?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the fact that The Bachelor, like the production team, allowed him to stay. He, like, again, they're hearing all this. He's on mic. It's not like they don't know and they find out later. Like, Jojo will find out later. She has no idea he's saying all this crazy stuff. But the production team knows he's saying all this stuff, to the point that they hire a security guard to specifically watch him so that they can keep him on the show and instigate this violence. I mean, it's crazy.
Alternate thought.
Okay.
I did always notice that he would only ever lose his mind when kind of instigated by someone in the group. Like, it was never random. It was always like one of the guys talked about him to Jojo.
Yeah.
One of the guys would call him out and say, you shouldn't talk to her right now. One of the guys would say, you're a weirdo. Or like, listen, he's obviously crazy, but it felt like if you just left him alone, he would stay. It almost felt like he would stay on his side of the room, work out, do his thing. But I feel like the altercations were always somewhat like, dude, if you're hanging out with a legit wild lion in the room who will literally scratch you.
Yeah.
Like, don't poke it.
Well,
like, just stay on your side of the room and just be like, dude, that's a crazy lion over there. I'm just going to like hang over here. But like, these guys are always kind of poking him. They're always like, let me make fun of him in the skit. Let me talk about him to Jojo. Let me do all these things. It's like, just leave the crazy person alone.
Yeah, well, a few things. First of all, Wells brought up how there were like two camps of men. Wells was in one of them where he just like left Chad alone. And then Evan was in one of the other camps that like instigated shit with Chad. But the thing is, it's like, there's a few parts to that. If you've seen, like, if you know the guy, like he said, Wells said he snapped when they moved his protein powder.
But again,
but I don't think
just
they were doing.
Leave the protein powder.
I don't think
like,
that they weren't messing with him.
But if you know he's crazy, you know there's the threat of him going off.
Yeah,
So
but you want him out of the house. Are you joking?
So you're saying
Get
that
him
like
out of the house.
It was a technique. Like, let's poke this guy so he loses it, so he gets kicked out.
Yeah, are you
okay,
kidding me?
I get that. That makes sense.
Get him out. Like Jojo needs
But I'm thinking
to
if someone's threatening to cut up my torso, I'm not thinking get out. I'm thinking of survival.
I mean, here's the thing. I would have stayed away from him because I don't want to risk my life around him. But like, Lord knows, like, thank goodness some of those guys like were poking the bear, or else Jojo wouldn't have found that out until like potentially way later on in the season.
Yeah.
Also, the type of guy who freaks out when you move their protein powder unintentionally.
Oh, crazy. I mean, there's no
I mean, you
have
like you're going to poke the bear accidentally constantly.
True.
Like, you say something casually and are like, hey, Chad, do you mind moving that? And he's just like, what the fuck did you say to me?
That's my powder.
And you're like, oh my God. Yeah.
And you're like, my eyes just.
It's just like anything you do is going to get this, like, set this guy off. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And there were so many just like crazy scenes with him. They did have the scene with him though, where he was laying there and the guys were singing, doing a sing along about Jojo without her there. And he was just like, I'm going to lose my mind. And I was like, in that way, I got your back. Because if I was in a house full of people doing a sing along about Jojo and Jojo wasn't there, I'd be losing my mind too.
Yeah, I got real frat house real quick. And I think I
like-
think he's just like, this isn't my vibe.
You don't think frat house is Chad's vibe? I think
I
frat
don't know.
house
It was
is,
frat house in there, and then he was like not into it.
well, they were doing like a cute sing along. It was
It was a
definitely
cute
more.
frat house.
It was more of like a musical theater moment.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. It was like a cute frat house. It was like a musical theater
It was
frat
super
house.
cute. It was a super cute frat house. Yeah. Oh, and then there's like that scene where all the guys are trying to, impress her by winning this game where they're like expressing themselves to Jojo, and he was just like, she's asking him to say more, and he tells her that she's coming off a little bit naggy.
Oof.
Oh my gosh. And
Wild.
he's just like, all the guys are losers trying to impress her. But like, then he pulls her aside and has this like one-on-one moment with her. And that was when he pulled her aside, I think after that, if I remember correctly, that was when a lot of the shit started to stir. And I think that's when shit started to hit the fan, is when the guys started to think that like Jojo and Chad were connecting. Because beforehand, it's just like this psychotic loose cannon. Like, I mean, whatever. But then all of a sudden, when the girl that you're like wanting to get with in the show is seeming to not be aware that he's a psychotic loose cannon, it's just like, okay, we have to take care of this. But I mean, he was lurking around the corners, and then so then Alex, the Marine, starts to call Chad out, and he specifically, Alex, obviously Evan was saying stuff about Chad too, but specifically Alex went for Chad. And here's the thing. God bless him. But there's that hard rule in The Bachelor, like if you're going to be the sacrificial lamb and you're going to out the villain and make it your like job during the season to make sure that the villain gets out, you're not going to stay on the show. Like, you're gone the week after the villain's gone. It's just how it is. Because you spend all your time talking to the lead about the villain.
I think there's always like a villain and the contestant that gets upset with the villain and obsessed with the villain.
Yes.
And they can't focus on, they're talking shit about the villain the whole time to the whole crew, to the cast, to Chris, to whoever the bachelor or bachelorette is.
Alex is just like showing up at Chris's door and is just like, listen, we got to discuss Chad.
Every interview is about how much they hate the villain.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the bachelor or bachelorette starts to notice it.
Yeah.
And then they start to be like, it's a quick way for the person, for the bachelor, bachelorette to be like, oh, thanks for bringing it to my attention. And also, oh, I don't really like you anymore.
Well, it's also too, you're like, every time you have these brief moments to get to know the bachelor or bachelorette, you're using your time talking about somebody else. And so then like you maybe become the lead's ear to the ground, like, hey, like tell me the shit about this person and that person. But then you're more like a best buddy versus like a romantic interest.
And I feel like what pisses off the sacrificial lamb about the villain is that the lamb is usually very obsessed with being friends with the whole crew.
Yeah.
So they're usually like, oh, we're all communing and we're all homies and we all drink together and talk together and whatever. And then the villain's always kind of off doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that bugs them.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like, why aren't you with us? What's your problem? Well, fuck you, whatever. And then next thing you know, and the villain's like not even concerned. They're like, if you know, like I feel like the villain's always like just kind of busy talking to the person. They're always busy like trying to win over their person.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But then that one person's always just like, hey, what's wrong with you? And the villain's like, I don't care about you. I'm doing my own thing.
And to your point, in this specific scenario, obviously Chad is the most obvious of villains, but there have been definitely seasons where I feel like villains are crafted because of that, because that person who wants the community doesn't understand the person who's off to themselves, and then and then if that person who's off to themselves is vibing with the lead, they then get painted as like they don't like they're causing problems, or like they don't want to hang, and I don't know, and there's something about them and they just can't figure out what it is, but they'll just start calling out and going after that person. So I think you're right. But I mean, Chad was like is the most obvious villain that you can think of. In that moment when him and Alex first start confronting and he's lurking around, that's when we have the first very blatant, he tells Alex, like, keep that up and you're going to lose your damn teeth. And it's just like, whoa, that was a quick reaction. Very quick to being confronted a little bit. And then, oh my God. And then that one scene where Daniel's trying to talk to Chad because Daniel's been his friend in the house and is just like, okay, like maybe it's time to like chill out because like, let's pretend you're Hitler. And he's like, Chad's like, can we not pretend I'm Hitler? And he's like, okay, like, well, what about like Donald Trump or Mussolini or George Bush?
Yeah. No, he was saying, let's come down to those guys. Yeah, he's like, how about you come down to Mussolini, come down to Trump. Or no, sorry, come down to Bush. Like, he was like, that's so insane.
Dude, and then this whole time Chad's sitting there eating just a raw sweet potato. You said it was lettuce. Chris Harrison said it was a sweet potato.
I could have sworn it was a raw romaine lettuce, but like a grazing animal. Like he literally just was like no dressing, no fork, nothing. Like eating it like chips. It was bizarre.
Listen, you know what? I'm gonna get shit for this. I don't care. If I'm on a date and I start dating a guy, the type of guy who's obsessed and he can only eat raw, like not raw, or like raw veggies and chicken breast, and it's not the way that he eats isn't because of a specific set of beliefs. Like if you're raw vegan for your beliefs or like health issues or whatever, bless, amazing. But if you're like, this is for my body and you can only do that, I'm out. I'm nervous. I'm out.
If you're that obsessed with like the way you look and you're like,
and I'm just
fitness.
like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And just so then Chad sitting there narfing on just raw lettuce after seeing him doing those crazy pull-ups, I'm just like, yeah, if that wasn't a clear enough sign, then let's add all, know, him threatening.
If it wasn't for the decapitation threats, the murder threats, the actual physical abuse, and just the psychotic nature of himself, his diet would drive me crazy.
His diet would make me just absolutely, it would just boil my blood.
The lettuce alone, let alone the psychotic death threats.
Oh my God. Well, yeah. So then we talked about him and Evan and how Evan was doing that stand up. But yeah, I mean, it was just wild. Oh yeah. And then Evan tells Chris Harrison and then they send that security guard, which by the way, the security guard walks by Chad in a scene and is fully scared of Chad. Like Chad's sitting there and he's like, they've hired this fucking security guard, like keep an eyeball on me. And he's just sitting there eating probably more raw lettuce. And the security guy just like walks by and is just like, top of the morning to you, sir.
Yeah. Can I get you something? Can I get you a drink?
Mr. Chad, anything? You need anything? Like, would you like a towel after? It's just like, would you like a towel after your 500 pull-ups? No, you're good. You're good. Okay. Like,
yeah, right.
The security guard like ducked by. It's
he was like, so
everyone's aware of how unstable this guy is. No one wants to be around. You have to think the camera crew was freaked out. I would have been freaked out.
Yeah. I think they were scared when at the river.
Oh yeah. Okay.
At the river.
Let's talk about the river.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I jumped.
So no. It was a perfect segue, babe. Sweetie.
Well.
So Alex and Chad then have, of course, they put them in perfect Bachelor style. They put the two enemies on a 2-on-1 where one must go.
Amazing.
My most favorite part about this show are the 2-on-1s when they have the mortal enemies on. And of course, they put them on a date where it's just like, who can chop more wood?
I was so basic too. It's like Chad's like, gah, gah, gah. And then like Alex is like, no. And then it was just like, it was so just like, oh my God.
Stereotypical nonsense behavior. Just like literally chopping
schoolyard,
wood.
like,
oh my God. It was just like, yeah, whose dick's bigger? Just bullshit.
Oh my God.
I was just like, can we at least make this naked and afraid style? If we're going to do this type of date, like everyone needs to drop trow. We need to like be in a hot place, see who gets the most bug bites, who survives.
I want pain.
I want Pain. I want Jojo. Set her up in a gorgeous hotel. Let her watch Alex and Chad go on naked. And actually, you know what? Speaking of this then, Chad's been doing this thing lately where he's basically challenging other people to like fights. Okay. I say he does a Naked and Afraid situation. We get Chad with other people that he has a problem with go on Naked and Afraid. Who survives the longest? Because I'm going to be real with you. I watch two people and like two dudes are just like, let's get in the fucking ring and we'll see who wins. And I'm just like, I'm snoring. I watch you on Naked and Afraid. All right, let's see who's going to win.
Who survived?
Let's going to take, or go on Alone, that 100-day long version of Naked and Afraid, except they're in clothes. I want Naked and Afraid. Let's see who survives this. 30 days out in treacherous heat with crazy bugs and wildlife, and you have to like get your, all right, let's do that. That's much more entertaining to me than all these celebrities challenging each other to boxing matches. Like, come on.
I think you try to fight a jaguar or something like that.
Yeah.
He'd be like, come on.
He probably
what are you looking
would.
at me for? Jaguar.
He starts threatening the wildlife.
No, you start, let's box. Like, no, like we left the boxing to do the show. And he's like, no, I want to box these jaguars.
Chad, the jaguar is an endangered species. You need to leave it alone.
Jaguar wants nothing to do with you. Brian, come over here, fool. What are you doing? You think you can take me? The guy's like, we need to gather wood. Sorry.
No, but don't you think that'd be more interesting? I think it'd be more interesting.
I completely agree.
It's just too many boxing matches with celebrities. I just want to see, I want to see people doing Naked and Afraid challenges.
Yes.
Alone, not together. I want them both in separate areas by themselves.
Yes.
Well, I mean, on the 2-on-1, Chad's commentary is just like so violent. It's crazy. It's just insane. But Alex goes and he pulls a great move because Alex is a smart guy. He knows that Jojo's favorite is Jordan. So Alex tells Jojo that Chad was threatening Jordan.
Yeah.
So then immediately she's engaged. Before, she's hearing shit about Chad. People are like, oh, Chad, he sucks. He's doing this. He did this to Evan. And she's kind of like, oh, it's too bad. I'm going to get rid of Evan probably soon anyways. And blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Now Chad's threatening to come after her main squeeze. Now she's got a problem. Smart move.
Right.
Smart move. But then he comes back and sits. And then she talks to Chad. And then she tells Chad that Alex told her these things. And Chad literally tells Jojo that he's not an aggressive guy. Those were the words out of his mouth. He said, I'm not an aggressive guy. No. And I was like, cut to the clip of you talking about throwing people's torsos into the pool.
Yeah, I think it was panic mode. Probably saw the end in sight.
I mean, whatever it was. Saying you're not an aggressive guy, like,
I'm always
that's
blown away by people that
level.
lie on the television shows, because I'm like, just the show's gonna come out. Like, so how could you just got to tell the truth always?
You just have to always tell the truth. In fact, preemptively tell the truth. Be someone who's giving too much info, where you're like, all right, it's fine. Like, we don't need to know all that.
Tell her before you threaten everyone. Like, hey, just so you know, I kind of struggle with like threatening people and like,
just
being like really terrifying. So at least like she knows when someone comes and goes like, dude, he threatened someone. She's like, yeah, I know, we're working on it. But if you're like
being really terrified,
I struggle with like restraining orders and stuff, and it's like, yeah, but
at least she knew what she'd be getting into versus like, I'm not an aggressive guy. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Well, yeah, I mean, then they have their moment where Chad comes back and is just like, I'm not very happy with you. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And he's just treating him like a child. And it's just that it's scarier.
It's way scarier.
It's way scarier because
if he would have come out and just been like, oh, it would have been way better.
Yeah, no, he just laid down next to him, was just like getting comfy and was just like, I'm just disappointed. And it was just like,
too.
Oh, he's definitely going to kill you in your sleep.
Yeah. Like,
definitely. Someone check on Alex. They did not do a recap with Alex. Someone needs to check on Alex.
What's that movie with Christian Bale?
What?
Killer.
Oh, Psycho? American Psycho?
He's got that vibe.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Kind of laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like trying to maybe fake human emotion a little bit.
Yeah, pure horror.
Pure rage.
Pure rage.
Blind rage.
Blind rage.
I mean, just completely furious.
Well, he said to him, "It's unfortunate that I can't hurt you right now." And he comes out of the gate and says to Alex, "It's unfortunate because I cannot hurt you right now." Jojo comes back, confronts Chad in front of Alex, and Alex does not tell her, "Just so you know, Chad just told me that he wanted to hurt me right now, but won't because there are other people here." He's just like, "Hey, remember how he was threatening Jordan?" I was like, "Guy, tell her about the fact that he's literally just physically threatened you in moments of telling her that he's not aggressive."
Couldn't believe he didn't bring that up.
I couldn't believe it either. It just felt like such a waste of such a good moment where it's like, hey, he just did this.
And by the way, he just threatened me. Like 2 minutes after he said he wasn't, and 1 second before you came here, he just said, I'm disappointed that I can't hurt you right now.
It's literally like on the schoolyard where there's two kids and the teacher comes up and one of the kids like tattles on the other and was like, "He's being mean." And the teacher's like confronts the kid and the kid's like, "I didn't do anything." Teacher turns it back to the other kid and the kid goes like this, sticks his tongue out while the teacher's talking to the original child. That's 100% what Chad did, except in a horrifying way. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
How do you get to that age with that mindset? And not be like in prison or dead or something.
I mean, I don't know. I truly don't know.
Just modern society. You can't threaten people. You can't physically hurt people. You can't act like he acts.
Clearly, he can because here he is, and he's and not only is he continuing to do this, he is now in a position where there have been I don't know if it was domestic abuse. I don't want to say that. I think it was there was like some sort of like domestic dispute. That's it. Domestic dispute claims from his girlfriend that were thrown at him. And because
he couldn't find the protein powder?
I mean, straight up, probably. Like he got those domestic disputes thrown at him. He then somehow goes online and is blaming his ex and just fully and somehow he moves past them. The guy has said the wildest shit on the internet about everyone. Okay. And then while he's in the middle of this situation with his ex, Tyler Cameron, our Lord and Savior, slides into the ex's DMs and like is just like, "Hey, are you good?" Like whatever, because he's just an angel.
"Hey, are you good?"
No, he's not like that. I mean, maybe, but like he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
And Chad finds out and immediately challenges. Is like telling he's gonna beat his fucking ass. Challenges him to like a boxing match.
He loves that. It's his go-to move.
It's his go-to move. He's just like, "Are we gonna get in the ring or not?" And he's in the middle of dealing with or in the middle of all this shit, and somehow it just goes away. Like I don't know how he said the things he said online, done the horrific things he's done, and now his OnlyFans, I read he's making like 40,000 plus a month off of his OnlyFans. So hey, everyone, please unsubscribe.
Stop rewarding this
Please
guy.
stop rewarding Chad Johnson like 40,000 a month from his OnlyFans.
That's amazing.
I mean,
that's a lot of money.
I mean, it's amazing if he was.
No, I mean, like not amazing because he's a good guy. I'm saying like that's amazing that he's able to do that.
It's insane. Despite all of this shit, I think people are looking. It's like a shock jock. People are just like can't. They want to know. And I said on a previous episode, I was like, I will not subscribe because I would never support. But like I'm curious what this OnlyFans shit is because he's so horrifying.
I mean, I'm sure it's him. From the Instagram stuff we've seen, I'm sure it's him having sex with his girlfriends or his.
Okay, let's talk about that. Yeah. So after this episode with Jojo aired, he went on his Instagram and he posted. I can't believe this.
I mean, it's stuff that like is a movie stuff.
It's movie shit, and he's since posted other things. Oh Lord, what is this even? There's one of these and he's dancing. Oh my God, he's dancing.
Dance?
What is going on? Oh my God. Okay, there's a brand new one 4 hours ago.
Okay, let's see.
It's Chad Johnson, and the caption says, "Hi, Chris Harrison. We're gonna fuck under your bed."
Oh.
Say things with the peoples. Oh, I'm a carry.
I don't even.
Sometimes when the people in the
I don't even want to. Okay, I don't even know. I feel like.
This is really long.
Okay, it's like 13. It's like almost 14 minutes long. I'm not gonna watch this right now.
What are they doing? They're just talking?
I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure they're saying wild
Oh, they're going live.
shit.
They went live.
Oh, they went live.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're like probably looking at comments and responding.
Oh my God.
This is bizarre.
And then there's one of him dancing to Taylor Swift. But what we were talking about initially is
with by the way, with like a robber's mask on and a spray bottle. That's what it is. It's him with a robber's mask on, cargo pants, no shirt, and a spray bottle. Just being real wild.
I mean, okay, here's what he posted the day of that the episode aired. There's a photo of him with his girl with this crazy huge Hummer looking car that says realchadjohnson.com on the side. And they're in front of a home. And it says, "I always told Jordan I'd find him. I never said what I'd do when I found him, but my team found him." God, who the fuck is his team? So I went to his house and I fucked right in front of it for OnlyFans. Now, every time Jordan and Jojo step foot inside their house, they'll think of me. Every time you check the mail, you'll think of me. Every time you walk the dog, you'll think of me. My dick has tainted your domicile. Revenge is a dish best served with my dick. I literally can't even read this.
I mean, it's so like.
And then he says, check out my OnlyFans. And then he says, "You're up next, Chris Harrison." I can't believe this. I can't believe that The Bachelor. I will never get over the fact that they had him back on the show after he was as scary as he was. I mean, let's not forget after Jojo sent him home and he like wandered around in the woods and probably like ate like the heart of an animal.
Yeah, I think this is super weird because if this was like a crazy, just random internet personality, it'd be crazy. But at the same time, it'd be a little bit more like, wow, this guy's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But to think this guy was on the show amongst very normal men,
ABC,
very normal men, just like a part of the show, like a very, and then they were a couple, beautiful couple, came out of the show, like everyone's very like just respectable and normal, and they're amongst just this normal, respectable group of people is this literal psycho.
Can't believe it.
Is like having sex in front of people's homes, filming it, and then like putting it online and threatening people. Like, this is more than like personality crazy. This is like legit crazy. Oh no,
it's scary. Anywho,
wow.
I mean, we gave Chad Johnson too much time.
But hey, man, we love you. Don't hurt us.
But please,
we won't box you.
Please don't find my home. But I mean, we had to talk. We had to discuss him. But I just can't. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Wild.
Well, Chad and Wells and Evan. There's a moment where they talk about Chad, and Wells was talking about how Chad ate the bone when they ate ribs, and he actually ate the bone. And Evan looked confused for a second, and I was like, I think he's joking, Wells. Like, it's not the real deal.
Oh, I kind of thought it was real.
Are you?
I don't know. I was thinking.
I mean, I guess.
Said it convincingly.
I mean, I guess Chad.
Yeah.
If anyone's gonna eat the bone,
anyone's gonna literally crunch the bone.
And then we did see Carly for a moment. When Evan was on screen, Carly popped in with the two kids. Chris is like, "How are you doing during this quarantine situation?" And she's just like, "I'm exhausted." Long pause. "But I'm so lucky." And Evan and I were laughing so hard because we're like, listen, I know on this podcast Bekah's talked about how, she's been having good family time and all that and like blessings. Evan and I have felt different. We felt like Carly, where you're just like, you're looking in the camera and there's just rings around your eyes and you're just like, I'm exhausted. And then in the back of your brain, you're like, don't want to come off as a bad parent though, but I am. I love my child so much.
Yeah, everyone you talk to like immediately just says like, this is a nightmare. And they're like, it's but the best nightmare.
But we
And you're
love
like,
our
"Oh."
children and they're just so wonderful. I'm so grateful.
I want my life to be over. I want a new life. I want to leave everyone, but in the best way.
Let's
And
make
you're like,
something
"Wait, what?"
let's make something very clear. Do we love our daughter? Yes. She is a treasure. Ember is a national treasure. I believe it in the deepest.
She is a national treasure.
She's a national treasure. I believe it in the deepest part of my heart. But do you think that when I was watching the interaction between Carly and Evan and their kids, and then Wells, who I know Wells is about to hop offline, go back to his very rich and famous girlfriend with their bloodhound dogs, and he's going to make them some delicious margaritas. They're going to watch whatever Netflix shit they want to watch. They're going to have sex
by the rad pool.
They're going to go to bed. They're going to wake up when they need and want to wake up. You don't think that was a little like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad?
Yeah.
Then you have another thing coming.
Yeah. This does not sound horrible.
Hey, Mom, you want to come? You want to babysit Ember?
We need
Anyone?
a live-in.
Anyone from our family want
sister.
to come help with Ember, please? Well, okay. So then we have Jojo with her top guys. We have this moment where we have Derek and Jojo, which I absolutely love Derek. Derek is my most favorite. One of my most favorite contestants that has come out of the series. Loved him on the recent Bachelor in Paradise. They obviously had a lot of chemistry, but Jojo ends up giving Chase the rose over Derek. And then we have a scene, and I think this is where the recap took quite a turn. We have a scene where there's a singer, and I'm sure she's super famous, and I just don't know who she is. So that's my bad. But it is my wildest Bachelor fantasy come true. Listen, Evan, the listeners of this show know that my thing is always like, there's these balconies, and I just like imagine like some Phantom of the Opera hanging over the edge, just like singing to them. It's always very dramatic. Well, we had this, and she was singing from Evita, one of my favorite musicals. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Are you joking?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Evan's heard me sing this a million times. Do I sing this to Evan when I'm feeling sad about something? Do I pop, when Evan's taking a shower, do I pop in and start singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina? Yeah, for sure.
It's not a song you sing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not one of those songs you bust into. Just bust into it. It's one of my go-to songs. You have a couple like very random songs that would be the strangest thing to bust into.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's an old Christian band that I bust into a song that sings "Let the Lion Run Free," and I hate that that I always start singing that, but I do. "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" is one of my main ones. And oh man, when she started off and she was just like,
amazing.
"It won't be easy. You'll think it's strange."
Just do the whole song right now, top to bottom, 4 minutes.
Don't challenge me. But that's what they did.
Yeah.
They showed this woman singing the whole song, and they made us watch poor Derek crying for 25 minutes.
Oh, once he was in the car.
Yes.
It was like a loop.
We saw her singing the entire song. And it's a long song. It's not a short song. She's singing the whole song, and it's just a close up on Derek.
Yeah, it was longer than if we were just watching the entire episode.
Yes.
Let alone a supercut recap of the whole season.
So it's like, you're going to give us, how many men did we not discuss? Like, also, we barely got to know Jojo in this recap. We knew nothing of Jojo. Maybe give
Zero coverage.
Maybe give us a few minutes about Jojo. Maybe give us, that's it. Nothing but give us more about the lead. And you give us 5.5 minutes of zoomed in on poor Derek having to relive this moment where he is feeling very vulnerable on national television.
He's just saying, don't cry.
I know.
Don't do it.
And it's already like, listen, if you've watched Bachelor in Paradise and all this shit, Bachelor in Paradise last season, Derek just got heartbroken. He just got decimated. And it's like, you're going to make him do this again. Like you break his heart during Jojo season. You break his heart during Bachelor in Paradise. He's remained a lovely guy throughout all this business. And then once again, you make him watch or be shown 5 minutes worth of him just zoomed in sobbing on national television.
So long.
And then he starts talking. At least they had let him talk to Chris for a minute, but it's just, it's like a 2-minute long snippet where he's just like, yeah, I was uncomfortable showing my emotions, but like, it helped me open up, I guess. And I was just like, come on, you guys got to do him dirty like that.
Ew, yeah, it was kind of a beating.
It was a beating.
Like, here's 5 minutes of you sobbing, and then be like, you still sobbing, guy? And he's like, yeah, a little bit. And like, cool. All right, have a good one.
Good
it was just like, it was like,
good catching up, and it was just like,
okay.
And then we saw Luke and Jojo, which, I mean, they showed a lot. That was another thing. Every single guy from Derek on, they showed this like long chunk of their relationship, which they haven't done, by the way, in the previous episodes. They just showed certain people, like focused in on more. They show a lot of Luke and Jojo. I won't say much. Luke is a very loved, Luke Pell is a very loved character in the scene in Bachelor Nation. I am not a personal fan. He was on a version of Bachelor called Winter Games, and I thought he did one of the girls dirty. I wasn't a fan, and they showed in all the like after the final rose for Winter Games that had happened, and he was kind of painted in a villainous light, and then all of a sudden in this episode, they're like painting him like really beautifully and talking about his nonprofit work. And then Chris Harrison offers him basically a spot on Bachelor in Paradise. Yeah. I was really confused because if you would have seen him, I know you didn't watch Winter Games, but he had this great reputation on JoJo's and then had this reputation on Winter Games. And now all of a sudden it's like, it all went away. I just didn't understand. It was like, I don't know, they're creating like a new narrative. And
they're trying to.
I don't like it.
You don't like it one bit?
I don't like it one bit.
Well, she was sad when she said bye to him.
Oh my Lord.
I mean, she was choking, like sobbing.
And he was in shock.
Pure shock.
I've never seen someone look so in shock.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Because I'm very confused by this.
Okay, go ahead.
It's like the top 8 guys are all blown out of the water when she breaks up with him. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, have you not seen the show? Like, your chances aren't good. There's like 30 guys here. She's going to pick one of them. And you think, like, you're that convinced? Like, have you not seen the show? That, like, everyone thinks they're the one and then they get cut and they're blown away. Like, can't you prep your mind for this? Being like, I really like this girl a lot. Oh my gosh, I'm telling her I love her, all these things. But you still have seen the show and seen that these people break up with everyone says they love her and then she's going to break up with 7 of the guys and 1 guy's left. Is there not this sense of like, protect your mind and knowing that like you might be on the chopping block?
Okay. So this is my thought.
Because they're all like, how could you break up with me? I told you I loved you. It's like, so did the other 20 guys. Like, what? I just don't get why like that is such a mind blower for these guys.
You're right. But I've heard contestants talk about how you don't know about really anyone else's relationship except your relationship and the leads. So if it seems to be going well, if when you both are together and there's chemistry and you're making out and you feel like it's going well, then you don't know how it's going with everyone else.
But you've seen the show before.
I know, but when you're in the moment, like imagine this. I'm the Bachelorette right now, right? Here, let me take my glasses off.
There you are.
So
Where
stupid.
you hiding under there?
I take my glasses off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's 15 other guys, let's say right now.
Yeah.
But you and I are sitting on the couch and we're having our moment. And I have full logged in eye contact with you.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing at everything you're saying. And I'm just like, oh my God, tell me, like, I want to know more about you. Like, tell me about your family.
Yeah.
And you're telling me about your family. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, they sound amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to meet them someday.
Yeah.
And then we make out. And then we have like a little hand squeeze
Sure.
before we leave.
Sure.
And you're kind of like, all right. And you don't know anything else with the other contestants.
Yeah, but you do know a little bit because then you make out.
But look at
We
how
have this-
intently my eye contact
I mean,
is.
I'm completely smitten. But I'm just saying, like, so I make out with you. I'm like, wow, that was incredible, right?
Of course.
I go back to
But of course.
I go back to the bungalow or whatever. And then I'm waiting. And then, Johnny goes after me
Yeah.
and comes back and goes, yeah, it was amazing. We made out. I'm going, oh, okay. So like my brain immediately goes, oh, okay. She's kind of,
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
she's locking
And
this with everyone. And I gotta know.
well, and
that
you
this
see
is,
some people on the show battling with like, where do I stand? And they'll come then to the lead and be like, I need more from you to know if this is good.
right.
So that does happen sometimes.
Yeah, those guys seem to kind of have a better
But
understanding.
think about this. You start off 30 people, 25 to 30 people, and you get through like a month of being on the show. And from 30, you're down to 8. You're starting to feel pretty solid. You're like, I'm in the top 8. And this was whittled down from 30. I think you're starting to feel like,
Sure, your
oh,
confidence is growing.
like I could have a chance with her. Like this is actually maybe going to work.
I just feel like you got to keep your head on, you got to keep your head on right the whole time until she literally, like,
But Evan,
you're
if you
on one
keep-
knee.
But if you keep your head on too tight, like if you're screwed in too tight,
Yeah.
you're not going to be willing to be vulnerable and show me your heart. And then I'm not going to think that you're really ready or here for me. And I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, but think about this.
So you have to
Think
be
about
vulnerable.
this. Rogers,
Jordan.
he was the most kind of like playing
No,
it cool. Like everyone else was
no.
like, I love you. You're the love of my life. And he said, like, remember, she was kind of like wanting him to give her more. So he kind of played it right. He kind of like kept
I
her
think
on a
it's good.
string
I
a
think
little
it's
bit.
good to play it cool.
He didn't just be like, here's everything. He was kind of
I
like,
think it's
well,
good to play it cool. I would hope that in the scenario that I would play it cool and that I would like kind of be like, okay, I'm not gonna like jump. But then you see it. It's just again, it's lead to lead because some of these leads, you'll have them being like, she hasn't expressed to me like all the other people have expressed that they love me and like she hasn't yet. So I don't know if it's gonna work.
Got it. Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
there's like
it's a
that fine
balance.
line.
It's
Yeah.
about it's like being that third place.
A lot of luck too.
situation.
Like if those guys have said too much and you haven't said it, it's like a lot of, you have to guess what they are doing.
It's a dance, really.
It's really a dance.
It's a complex dance.
Oof.
Well, speaking of then, a dance, Chase and Jojo, another crazy hard breakup for Jojo. Chase has, we see another, again, it was just very long. Like the Luke thing was long. The Derek thing was long. The Chase thing was long. It was just like him, opening up and finally telling her in the fantasy suite that he's 100% in love with her. And she doesn't look thrilled, but they start making out. And then she's kind of like, well, I don't know if I feel the same. Like it was very clear as soon as he said, I love you, she got the ick.
Yeah.
She got the ick big time.
Big
And it was
time.
like they were good. And then when she heard what she'd wanted, like, but you have to hear it, right? I get needing to like, I want you to say it. And then he says it and you're like, I got the ick.
You saw it too. She's like, yes. And then he's like, I love it. And she's like, oh.
Yeah. You're like, that didn't feel the way that I thought it was going to feel. And I resonated with that
Yeah,
shit.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No, because I feel like I would know before I actually need it to be said. Like I don't like if I'm in love with someone and they say it, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I feel like confirmed. But I'm not like I'm in love with this guy or this girl, and then she goes, "I love you," and I'm like, ooh.
I've had that.
It's like
that exact.
Literally, like it's the words. Like
There's either it's an unexplainable phenomenon, and I've had it happen to me. I've had someone tell me that they love me.
Right. And you were like, you were kind of on board for it.
No, it was literally like, I'm vibing with this person. I think they're fun and interesting, and we're having a great time together. And I kind of want to know like how they feel about me, and I'm interested. So I'm not like shutting it down, and I'm letting it happen organically. And then this person came out and was just like, I just want you to know. And it happened fast, like it would in a Bachelor situation, right? I think, again, you have to think about this situation. This is all happening really fast.
So fast, yeah.
So you don't quite know. You're trying to figure out, like, do I like him as much as I think? Or am I just like, do I just connect with him? And he's like a good friend. You don't really
know the person
either. You don't really know. And it happened quickly in my situation too. And the person just like came out and was just like, I am in love with you. And the second that those words came out, and I felt horrible. So I got her just sobbing. Felt horrible. The second that the words came out, I love you, my ick went through the roof. And I was just like, I can't do this.
That is terrifying.
I know. It's terrifying for anybody.
I mean, I guess when I'm thinking in terms of just the show, when they're talking to her. Yeah. And to think that like everything can be going swimmingly and all it takes is one tiny thing and get the ick. And it's just like if you were to think about that too hard, that could really get in your head. Yeah. If you're thinking like all I got to do is one little slight twing and then like she gets the ick. Yeah. I mean, that is a tightrope. But
it is a tightrope, but that's just the game of love. You know what I'm saying? Like the game of love is not clear. Like if you and I might be wrong with this, but I think if you and I would have had a kind of a whirlwind romance like I had with this other person, I wouldn't have known you as long as I did, and you would have right out the gate told me that you were in love with me. I would have been, well, I mean, what am I saying? You told me that you were in love with me really fast.
Wait, real quick. Okay, I want to go back because you were just about to say if it would have been a whirlwind romance and you would have said I loved you, I would have gotten the ick too. That's what you were about to say.
No, I was about to say that it would be completely different. I swear to God, I would have said like with you, it would have been a clear like I wouldn't. I'm
because I do feel like the
convinced
ick,
I wouldn't have felt the ick.
So hear me out on this. I feel like the ick is actually just. I don't like this person trying to get out. So it's like waiting for the slip up. Because think about the other way. How many times do you know someone that sticks with someone like through everything? And you're like, how could you speak? Like, you know, like a friend who's dating someone. You're like, oh, that person's horrific. Why would you be with the person? And they're like, yeah, they just stick with that person forever. And you're like, they're drenched in ick, but they don't feel it.
They don't feel the ick, yeah.
So I think the ick is like, I don't really like this person. And I'm just waiting for them to do something to send me off their trail.
I don't know because I
really like someone and you stick with someone. You end up sticking with people way past.
But I liked the person that I was talking about. I liked this person.
Was it like I liked a part of them, but maybe it wasn't the full package?
I know. I mean, okay.
I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
No, I think that it was. I think that it was like I felt like a little smitten kitten. Like I was like, okay, like I liked the person. I was having a great time. And then as soon as like the declaration of love came out, I got the ick. I don't know what to tell you. I just did. But we also had,
Yes.
I don't know if you recall, Evan, but the day that you asked me to be your girlfriend, you told me that you were in love with me. And that was very fast. And I definitely didn't feel the ick. I felt the opposite of the ick. I was like, my knees were shaking.
Yeah, but I had known you for a very long time.
That's true, so but like we weren't romantic for a long time. We had just been very recently romantic.
But I knew it.
I mean, I knew it too. That's something that she brought up with Jordan later. Jojo asked Jordan, she was like, how do you know that you love me?
Yeah, I thought that was like saying, how do you know that I'll live to be 86?
I thought it was a legitimate question. Like, how do you know? Like, prove it to me.
Yeah, okay. We're on a TV show
bitch.
for like a month. How could I prove to you anything? Like, we haven't gone through anything. We haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I've just been like going on random one-on-ones that are like 10 on 10. Like, you know what I mean? Groups of people like with you. Like, there's no way to prove that. And also, like, she was
You're just like, I think.
Well, she was saying,
you.
like, how do I know for a fact that you're going to spend the rest of your life with me and be committed to me and love me forever? It's like, I mean, what? How do I know you're going to be like that? Like, just because you got broken up.
She's the bachelorette, Evan.
So because you got broken up with once, it's on me to prove to you the unprovable. Like, that was a little bit like, what? You can't know. Like, you just have to accept the fact that, like, you can't know everything, and you put your best foot forward, and you go, I love you, and I'm gonna respect you, and I'm gonna be there for you. But I have to take your word, just have to take my word out.
But I want to hear it. Brush my hair and tell me all the reasons that you love me.
Totally.
And brush my hair. I know it's falling out like crazy.
But all the reasons that I love you.
So actually, don't brush my hair, because the more you brush it, the more it falls out.
Scratch my back. Don't touch my head.
Don't touch my head, because that's gonna come out in a flurry.
I'm gonna get the ick. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, even telling you all the reasons that I love you is not guarantees of why we'll be together forever. Mm-hmm. Be like, I love your personality, and I think you're cute, and I love your the way you are with this, and I love the things you like, and I think we have so much in common, and I think you're beautiful. That just means why I love you. That doesn't mean why we'll stick together for the next 20 years. Like,
yeah.
So I just thought it was weird. Not weird, but I just think it's always an unreasonable question when someone says, like, how do I know? I'm like, especially in like a pressure cooker like the show.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you're asking for something that you can't.
I guess
you
it's
can't
just a
guarantee
feeling,
me,
right? I mean, like, how did you know when you loved me? I feel like this episode is becoming me being like, you tell me that you love me. I'm insecure right now. I've been in this house too long.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
But like, yeah, I mean, I guess like, how do you know? It's a hard feeling to explain, I guess.
For me, it always comes down to like, whenever a friend of ours is dating someone and they're like, I don't know. I feel like, and this is very generalizing, and I'm probably wrong in this, but I always feel like when you know, you know. And if you know something's wrong,
I think
you know something's wrong. And anytime you're having to ask all your friends what they think, why is it taking so long to commit? What's our problem? I just don't know. I think I don't know is another term for it's not right. Because every time that person breaks up with that person and then like finds the right person, there's no questions. It's just like right into it. Perfect. Slides in. Yeah. It's love. It's cruises. Like, it always seems like if it's right, it just is like somewhat.
It's almost like relationships are hard, but love, knowing you're in love might be easy. Like, it just is more like, it feels just more organic. Like, you just, like you said, when you know, you know. And then once you know, it's tough. And yeah, I don't know.
These are obviously all very subjective, ideas, but it does seem, just from the experience of personal as well as watching people, that like, yeah, the relationship's different, right? Like, going through things is different, but that initial like chunk of time where you're just like falling for each other, it doesn't seem like it should be that difficult.
Yeah, it's always like, if you're having a lot of problems during the honeymoon phase up front, it's probably like not a great sign.
Wild start.
Yeah, it's probably not a great sign. You should have it should be pretty simple towards the get-go, and I would say most scenarios. Obviously, there's always those random exceptions, but I would say in general, it
should be free and fun and be able to flow into it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh,
what a poem.
That's available on my Amazon.
Your audiobook that's coming out?
It's my haikus by Evan.
So yeah, she ends it with Chase. He's displeased, to say the least. And he's just like, he's not reacting well to her shutting it down. And that was an example of when you were saying, like, you got to know, like, it might happen. He was pissed. He was pissed that he shared his heart and that she was not. And she was saying, I don't think the fantasy suite is going to change anything. He was not happy. And yeah, she then full breakdown again. She's trying to talk to him. He's running away. Tyler C comes on. Let's talk about that at the end, though.
Yeah,
And then there's Robbie and Jojo. Robbie, again, it was another long piece. I didn't realize how much they were into each other, again, because I wasn't watching towards the end of the season when it was happening. I was shocked at like how intimate they were and how into him she was. I don't remember seeing that. And, you know, I have my personal feelings about Robbie. Again, it's like the Luke thing. It's hard to watch now because it's like, you know, you've seen all these, you've seen them on all these different, like now Bachelor in Paradise Part 1 and Part 2 and know all the social media stuff. So what I know of Robbie is the guy that you used to go to school with or worked with or whatever, who dated or who was the father of, were they married? Him and Amanda?
I don't think so, no.
The father of Amanda Stanton's 2 little girls who are so precious. Robbie started dating Amanda at one point. And there was this whole social media scandal. I told you about this earlier. And she mentioned something about him, you know, her card getting, like he messaged her about her card getting declined with passes that they have, but she didn't say his name. She went on social media. She was irritated at him, but didn't mention his name, mentioned just an X. And then he goes on social media and fucking puts receipts out there, personal emails between him and Amanda. And they're going back and forth. And in the personal emails, he says, P.S. nice new tits. So all that I can think about when I look at Robbie is the P.S. nice new tits. And what I can't get over is the fact that he put those receipts on social media himself. I'm like, dude, and they're still, I went to go check on them. They're still there. He still has it on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God. So
imagine not having the awareness to be like, yo, I'm gonna blast this chick out of the water with the facts. Look at us talking about Disney passes, and to not think that saying nice new tits and having that is like that wouldn't become the problem.
Like what? Also putting your personal, like she doesn't even say your name on social media, and you put personal messages between her and yourself on there. Wild. I know Amanda, I think she's gone on Nick's podcast. I know she had I believe a book that came out, and I'm sure she gets into it. I don't know a lot about it, so I don't want to speak into it, but whenever I see him, that's all I can think of. And so it's just, I can't even,
it's like a t-shirt.
When I was watching it, it's like he's wearing a t-shirt that says P.S. nice new tits, and all I can think about is that when I'm watching him and Jojo, and I'm just like, wow, Jojo, you picked the right guy. So good. I'm glad for you that you picked your sweet Jordan. And she picked Jordan, and they showed their whole montage of their relationship together. And
they seem great together.
They're lovely.
They're seem like the same person.
Yeah, they have a very similar energy. Well, when Chris Harrison, then obviously she says no to Robbie, her and Jordan get engaged, and they've been together now. It's been like 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And they've been engaged, and they had a wedding date set up, but because of COVID, that they are pushing it to 2021. But I thought it was so cute because they went on, they're doing their interview with Chris Harrison, and Jordan was just chatting away.
Yeah, seriously. On the show, he was so chill.
And he's just
like, yeah, you know, I love you. And then on the Zoom, he's like, you know, everything is great over here, and we're loving our house. Oh my God, the dogs are cracking up over here. Oh, her parents, hey guys. Like, it was like, what?
He's like,
the hell?
We've all been in quarantine too long. He's like, oh my God, a face. And he's like,
Chris,
hey Chris, it's so good to see you, buddy.
Come over to the barbecue tomorrow. Rare? Medium
God,
rare?
Please, I'm so lonely.
You like IPAs? I'll bring some IPAs over. Chris was like, no, I'm in this Airbnb. I can't leave.
He was just so stoked. Like, he was so happy, and it was sweet. They just seemed happy, and like they have this show together where she does the interior designs and he does like the carpentry, I think, in it or something, and they're just sweet, and they seem like one of the lovely success stories of
they seem really cool
of the franchise, and they seem lovely, and I'm happy for them.
Definitely.
And I hope that they have a beautiful wedding.
They have a cool house too. Like you could tell, looked like a ballin' house.
That house looked real fancy.
Really cool.
Real fancy. During this part, Evan did fall asleep. I had to wake him up. The recap had gotten a little long, and I'm like, oh my God, do you see their house? And I just feel like,
yeah, looks great.
I'm just like, Evan, had to chuck a pillow at him and be like,
I
embrace their love.
No, I thought they were great. It was just, some of the long, like
the
parts
Robbie
there at the
scenes, the
end were
Luke
just like,
scenes, the chase.
whoa.
You're just like, dude, this is getting lengthy.
Like, I get it. You had some extra footage you're just trying to use to like milk this thing.
If we weren't recapping it, I wouldn't have watched this part. I would have been fast forwarding through the whole thing. Sure. But before we wrap, we have to go back and we have to talk about the fact that we got a cameo at first from our Lord and Savior, Tyler Cameron.
I hate how good looking that guy is.
He's perfect looking, right?
Let me talk about it. You don't need to talk about it. You've talked about it plenty on this podcast, okay? I just hate, like, nobody looks good on Zoom.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, you're about to launch into it again. You're like, oh my God, yes, he is a god.
It was crazy. I was licking the television screen.
No, it is crazy though.
Yeah.
Like how good looking that guy is. It's like, it's just incredible. You're like, that guy just won the lottery of whatever.
Well, and then
looks.
And then not only when Hannah season started, Bekah and I were like, look at the guy.
Of course,
but
right.
we were judgmental. We saw the way he looked, and we were like, he's going to be a total douche.
And then he's great. And then, of course, nonprofit. He works out all day.
He's a fantastic, lovely human being.
Yeah. You're like, please have a little bit of chat in you. Like, please,
it's just like how
have some bad streak.
And he's a
great guy.
He's just a lovely person. He throughout like Hannah's season, he would tweet out like the most encouraging things to her, like defend her even though she didn't choose him.
Sure.
Like it was
must
just
so good to beat him.
To beat who?
To
beat Tyler? Like, oh, you mean Jed? Because Jed won.
God.
Yeah, well, Jed.
Yeah, Jed's off.
Jed was probably high for he had a quick high for like 2 months and then it came crashing
Obviously,
down.
I'm just saying for the 2 months though, to beat that guy, you must have just been like, I'm untouchable.
Oh no, wild.
Like I'm insane.
Yeah.
Like if I can beat that guy, then it's like, dude, I can do anything I want in my life.
Ego must have his ego just must have been exploding, just out of control.
Well, look at look at what happened with him. But yeah. Anyway, that guy's
seriously true.
It hurts.
It does hurt. Well, he's talking about his BFF, who is going to be the new Bachelor, Matt James, and he's talking about how they've known each other for a while. He was saying that he was a freshman, I think, in college, and Matt kind of took him under his wing. And they showed the clip of when they announced on Good Morning America that Matt was going to be the next Bachelor, that he wasn't wearing any pants, and we didn't know that. And then they bring Matt out, and I was telling Evan, I know we've talked about on this episode or on the podcast how, it's like, it's sad because it's like, oh gosh, like, I don't feel like we didn't get the chance to get to know Matt before he was going to be the Bachelor, and we're hoping on Claire's season they do like a catch up with Matt so you get to know him. But just this glimpse, I'm super excited. Big fan.
Cool guy.
Like he
kind of a boss. Like he just kind of had like confidence, and he was charming.
He's just like trying to think how to describe it. The difference between the typical Bachelor talking to Chris Harrison, the presidential vibe of like, I don't know, Chris Harrison, I'm just really excited to find love, and I've been looking in all the wrong places, and here we go. He, when Chris Harrison, asked him about him being excited, I like the fact that he immediately called out and was like, yeah, a lot of my Black friends who have not been Bachelor Nation faithful are planning on watching. I'm excited to see diversity on the show and be part of it. He called it out to Chris Harrison's face. I thought that was so awesome. And then as they're having this back and forth, he's got this smirk on the whole time, and you can tell he's like trying not to laugh at like, just the questions of just like, what is it like to feel like da da da. And he just seems like it's just going to be a season where he seems like he's down to have fun. It's not going to just be all serious. Like he's smirking. He's going to have a good time. He's doing the Good Morning America interview without pants on and no one knows. Like, and I know you don't know this, but that salmon jacket that he was wearing, it was a big joke during Hannah season because all the guys would share this one salmon jacket. So the fact that he was wearing it, he's just going to be fun. I'm super excited. I think that he's going to be I'm just excited for him as a bachelor, and I really hope that we, during Claire's season, get little blips of getting to know Matt more, because I liked that little moment that we got.
Yeah. He seemed like someone who's kind of out of it in regards to like, he's not like, oh, I was on the show and that's why I got chosen. Like there's something like, I know it's a disruptive from the normal model.
Yeah.
And it's random.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's going to bring like a whole fresh energy and personality
No,
to
you're
it.
true. He's not like part of the Bachelor family.
No, he probably doesn't even care. He probably doesn't. He's not fanboying about it. It's probably not. It's probably not even a thing. He hasn't been trained.
Yeah.
Through like being in a season on how to act. Like there's probably gonna be this like totally fresh like energy right in.
That's true.
So it's probably gonna be exciting. I think it's gonna be cool.
I can't wait. Well, we did get quick Bachelor news. We did find out that via Reality Steve that Claire, the next Bachelorette, Evan, Claire's
I knew that.
Yeah. Claire's season, they are apparently are starting to film July 9th in Palm Springs. They're taking over the Ritz-Carlton Rancho Mirage, and they're staying at the Ritz-Carlton the whole time because they have to be quarantined.
Right.
So they're going to film everything. So what you can expect is a lot of sweaty people, because Palm Springs in July and August is 115 degrees.
Oh, sweltering.
It's going to be so hot. Every single date, they are going to be dripping.
Oh yeah, when they like have a dress on and like a suit.
Oh,
it's just going to be sweat central.
And they're going to have their like rose ceremonies at nighttime. The men in the suits.
Still 110.
Still 110 at 9:00 at night.
Yes.
So it's going to be a real sweaty season. Super excited the fact that they're filming. So hopefully we'll have the season start in September. Yeah. And thanks for doing this with me, babe. I know that Broads, this was all over. We were talking a lot about ourselves.
Yeah, I think we were all over the map.
We were all over the map. But I mean, we have to talk about ourselves because maybe we're narcissistic.
Yeah, it's all about me. Everything comes back to
I
us.
do like to hear my own voice in the microphone in these headphones.
You like
so
yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, thanks for doing this with me.
Anytime.
Appreciate you always.
I'll be the relief pitcher anytime.
Thank you. Well, Bekah's gonna be back next week, so
okay, cool.
your stint was very short.
I'll see you in a year or whenever maybe she has another kid.
All right,
I really want to be on the show. I'll call her up, be like, are you guys planning anything soon?
Any you and Gray? We'll take the 2 kids. You guys can go on a little romantic getaway.
I'll try to set it up because I really want to be on the show.
All right, Broads. Well, chat soon.
Chat soon.